Okay, here is a Crutch part request from Max, and this is going to be very similar to the flashlight video I just finished, but no matter. We are going to start with just making half of this part. We're going to end up revolving the whole thing, so I'm going to make a line. If you knew the height from top to bottom, you'd put that in here. Now, I'll point something out real quick. This looks like everything has a little bit of a slope to it. So when you go to dimension it, you would find this top diameter. Okay? This is half of the object, so you'd put in the radius of that here. So if your diameter was 0.5, you'd put in 0.5 divided by 2. This does all the math for you. So you don't have to go through and get out the calculator and divide everything. You could just have the program do all of that for you. It'd be a smart move. Okay? So, like here, let's make that 0.25. You'd measure the outside edge here without the bumps, so try and get at one of these middle sections. This side to this side, divide that by 2. This edge to this edge, you need another dimension here. Divide that, and then again the very bottom. So as big as you can possibly get it. And you go back and measure the heights. So how tall was it from there to there? From there to this next one. And from there up to the very top. How tall is the whole thing? Okay. Oop, that was extrude. I want to revolve this, so finish your sketch. Go up to revolve. And click this middle line. We're going to make a new sketch on top here. Actually, no. Let's go back. Let's just make this whole part at once. So we're going to open up the sketch. I'm going to make this a construction line. So I click on it to select, I right click, and change that to construction. I'm going to trim this and this little notch right here to make a little chamfer. I'm also assuming, since this is for a crutch, it's not open here on the bottom. So I am going to, even though you didn't show me, assume that you can measure how deep this is. So from top to bottom here, this is where you take your dial caliper and that part that extends out the end. When you open it, you'd check to see how far down that goes before it stops. If it is with this line or if it's somewhere else. Let's trim off this so the inventor doesn't get confused. This may or may not have a little bit of a fillet on the inside. It wouldn't be that big, that's for sure. Okay, now let's finish our sketch and revolve around this construction line that we left in place. Okay, that's already looking pretty good, but we have these little nubbies here. So I think the best course of action is going to be to figure out where exactly those are. We're going to make a plane. Click and drag this top surface down. This will tell us where the very top of this is. Okay, so let's say we know exactly where that is. It's 0.1875. Sure. Right click on the edge of that, make a new sketch. Okay, I'm going to see if we can slice graphics. and if it will let us project the geometry at just this edge, it does not. So here instead, I'm going to make a circle. It's not going to let me snap to it, but it'll let me get pretty close. So I'm going to zoom in closer, try and get right up next to that line. I'm going to make a point on it. And I'm going to make this whole thing a construction line and finish this sketch. I can't tell because the tape is covering this what exactly this looks like. It looks like it kind of comes up to a point. So that's why I'm designing 4. If it's not, I'm very sorry. I'm going to drag this just down inside of this and say new sketch. I want this to be just above that, and I want to see what's inside this. Alright, so I'll make another circle. I want to keep it in this dark gray area, so it's still inside the part. I'll get it kind of close to the edge, and I want you to measure the outside diameter of this. We can't see it here, but we are going to loft. Loft from that circle up to this point. Okay. This is assuming that it really does come up to a point like it kind of looks in the picture. If it doesn't, we can try something else. So I'll give you a couple of options. We'll do this one here. Let me go back into Sketch 2. Sketch 2 is the one where we made this point. Oop, now it's on this side. We're going to make one more point. Same as what we did before. This time though, I'm going to make a little circle. I'll make it 0.025. It's just a random number. But I need something that I can take half of. So now my sketch 3, this is where I made that circle. I'm going to make the same circle on the other side. I'm going to loft. From this circle up to that circle. I made this 0.025, so when I go to fillet this, I can say 0.025 divided by 2. I click on this, it'll make that perfectly rounded. So, you tell me which one looks more like your crutch. Is it this side, or is it this side? Let's pretend like it's this side. Make a circular pattern. We're going to click on this feature. We want to include the fillet as well, otherwise you'd have to go back and add that to everything. So I have these two things highlighted. My rotation axis is any of these rounded surfaces, and you want to count how many you have and put in that number here. I'll assume 8. Okay, there you go.